broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I've been drinking.
Yeah.
Watermelon.
Easy.
We gotta start with Beyonce when I'm in charge. I'm just gonna wait for the beat to drop in a second. Hello?
I've been drinking.
Is this?
This
isn't
not
Beyonce.
Beyonce.
That's okay. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Kourtney and Khloé Take the Hamptons After Show, Episode 2, What's the Racquet? I'm Sterling Cates, and joining me tonight are Stephaune Wallace, eating popcorn over there.
Yep.
And Miss Jessie Owen.
Hello, hello.
And Bobby and Francesca could not be here tonight, but we
Bobby,
are,
no!
Oh, what's the hell, Bobby?
No, Bobby, no.
But we are holding down the fort, and they'll be back next week. I'm kind of glad Bobby wasn't here this week. No offense, Bobby. But because I know this whole episode he would be talking about Khloe and Scott and how they're getting together and how this would be an intimate relationship. So I didn't want to hear that one more time.
Well, you're going to hear it because...
No, we're going to hear it next week.
No, I'm going
Are
to hear
you
it
going to
this
say
week.
it?
Absolutely.
You're taking Bobby's side? Oh,
well,
man.
you know, in light of Bobby not being here, salute to my man, Demuro.
Love you, Bobs. And Franny.
Khloe and Scott, I mean, they immediately start off sharing the hotel room.
Yeah.
They share the hotel room. They're rich. Just want you to know. They don't need to share a hotel room.
All right. Well, here's the thing. In the last episode, we see that Kourtney doesn't let Scott back on the property after spending a night out in New York.
Okay.
And he comes back. His car can't come on the property. He's banned. And the same thing happens this episode when Khloe comes back from South Africa. She can't get on the property either.
Which is nuts. That's a whole other part of what we're going to talk about.
Which doesn't really make sense. So they go and they're in this together. So it makes sense for them to kind of be on the same team there because they both got kicked off the property. What do you want them to do?
And don't waste money. Come on.
Oh, stop. Don't waste money. So now these millionaires are being frugal is what you're saying.
Well, I don't think money has anything to do with it.
But
It doesn't.
some of them are still penny pinchers because they have it in their mind that this might not last forever. That's the whole star thing. I'm serious.
He's a lord. She's a Kardashian. They don't have it in their mind that they're ever going to run out of money.
Well, here's the thing. If this show wasn't as produced as it is, they could get on that property very easily. I mean, it's their house.
Well, I don't know. I mean, sounds like Big Sister's laid the law down. Also, just to defend Bobby and I's point.
Oh, now it's your point, too. See, it wasn't your point last week.
I'm on board. I'm on board with Bobby. The car combo. It's completely different. If you see how when they talk in the car, it's kind of like either girlfriends.
You mean Scott and Khloé?
Scott and Khloé. We're continuing with them.
Yeah.
And their love affair that is...
It's not a love affair.
Like underlined. It's an underline. Car combo. They go to lunch. When they got to lunch, if you notice, Scott said to the waiter, "We'll have 2 Diet Cokes."
Yeah. Well,
he knows exactly what she drinks. Kind of like your boyfriend would do if you would be proud of.
I don't know. Well, she also invites French to come to their lunch, so it's obviously not romantic
He
there.
kind of surprised them in the Hamptons.
Yeah, French was like crashing.
No, I will say this, though. I don't think anything would ever happen between Scott and Khloé because I don't think she would overstep those boundaries. But I do think there is some sexual tension there. And I do think that they are more compatible than him and Kourtney. Yeah. And I think if Kourtney wouldn't have been in the picture, I think that they would be a perfect match.
I still think that they are just very brother-sister, this whole thing.
Couples tennis.
But I will give you that. They did
Khloé
do a
said
lot.
tennis and sex and the whole
The way
activity.
this was put together, this episode, it did make it seem, it was kind of forced on us to think that this is a thing because she made that comment about exercise. It releases the same chemical reaction as sex. And then that even was awkward between them. She was like, why did I say that? I don't know why I said that.
So she says that, then we go crash cut to ass splinter and hard nipples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
but
was
Okay.
are all these things
Okay.
really happening? Or are they trying to make us think that they're happening?
Of course they are, but that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
they're trying to show us
The
that.
butt splinter scene was a bit much.
Yeah.
With her pulling down her pants, and he was right in there
We
and
totally
talking
saw her
about her
cheek.
nipples. Right.
cheek on like, but I mean, I don't know. I don't guess that's
Her
a big
inflated
deal.
cheek.
That's not really a big deal,
Yeah.
right?
I think the weirdest part for me is when he was kicked out of sleeping with Kourtney, kicked out of sleeping out of the guest room, which was Kim's room, which Kim's not even there, so I don't know why she has a room exactly.
Well, she's the reason any of them have money.
I
Right,
think
exactly.
I think Kourtney is just like doing anything she can to just nitpick at Scott. She's going to do anything to take away his happiness. Like she made a big deal about the Khloe thing. She locked the room. Like anything that gives him some kind of satisfaction, she's like out to get him, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I felt like the most like overstepping part with Khloe and Scott is when he sleeps in her bed with her. Like I feel like that might be pushing it a little
Absolutely.
beyond.
And he was being annoying whenever, Kourtney got pissed off and like went into the room and he was laughing. That was a little much. Like
Yeah.
they were being loud and there are kids in the house.
Well, what I do like about their relationship, though, is that they are very open with each other. And he asked her about French Montana. He asked her how
Sure.
things are with her. But when she came home, Kourtney didn't care at all about her trip, how things are in her new relationship, blah, blah, blah. Scott's always there to ask Khloe about Khloe, as opposed to it always being about Kourtney all the time.
And I understand Kourtney's frustrations, but she is very self-involved, though, as well as her
Yeah.
being frustrated with Scott because she's dating like a 14-year-old. But she also does do a lot of things and say a lot of things that are really selfish.
Definitely. And speaking from experience, you can only push someone so far away because I think she thinks, oh, Scott will always be there, whatever. I can treat him however I want. He'll just be there, whatever. But there is going to come a time when Scott's not going to be there anymore. Like right now, he's like clinging to her and like doing anything she says and not really having an opinion of his own and just agreeing for the sake of argument to save argument. And I don't know. I feel like he's going to get tired of it eventually.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of feel like Scott's always going to be around. A, because of the kids. Now that there's kids involved, he's always going to be around.
3 kids involved.
Right.
My goodness.
Exactly. And when he was in the car with Khloe, he said the Bruce Jenner comment about how he doesn't want to end up like Bruce because he still wants to be around. He doesn't want to be separated, living in separate houses. So I don't know. I definitely do think they are very comfortable in their relationship, and that's why they treat each other the way they do.
Yeah. I
But-
mean, Scott's got a pretty bad track record. So,
Yeah.
and we have to be honest about that. Again, like I said last week, Kourtney's a mom.
Yeah.
She's evolved emotionally. She's evolved mentally. I do think she does things very selfishly, but I think her underlying intention is, hey, I want you to grow up and become a dad or a man.
Right. They're
some
definitely
sort,
they're
you know?
definitely not growing together. And Khloe and Scott even talked about how before the kids, BK, that they were basically the same person, but now they are on completely separate pages. So do you think that's just because of the way Kourtney has changed since becoming a mom, or do you think she's acting the way she is because maybe it's her pregnancy, or what do you think? Because this episode was really different for me for her. I usually really like her.
Me
And
too.
I was annoyed by her the entire episode.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think pregnancy obviously like makes women a little crazy in the head. But I don't know. I feel like
I'm so
she's
scared.
she,
So that you have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
but I do feel like she's grown up a lot. I mean, of course, they were like a long time ago. She used to party, drink, they'd go out. They were younger. They like to have fun. But now she wants family time. So she doesn't want someone coming home and sleeping all the time. She wants she wants the perfect little family.
Yeah.
But that goes back to her expectations. And I think she expects Scott to do certain things. She expects Khloe to do certain things. But, oh my gosh, one thing I always hear, I won't even bring names up, but they always tell me, expectations are premeditated resentments. And that is so true.
Well, look at that.
You should give
true.
somebody a shout out for
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
it.
depth of that statement.
That will go to my boyfriend. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
There we go. You heard it here first.
Now that you said it's your boyfriend, I feel like he may be using that against you. But anyway,
But okay, so we talk about how Kourtney has, air quote, grown up. But to me, all of her actions are so immature. Like, first of all, locking them off the property instead of having an adult conversation about what's going on. She never communicates. And I feel like she's blaming Khloé for a lot of things that she's having with Scott. Khloé didn't have any reason to be kicked off the property. She just went on a trip to South Africa. Like, she didn't.
And she grown.
She can do whatever she
wants.
She's not one of Kourtney's kids. She's not in a relationship with Kourtney. So, and I feel like that whole thing, and even when she came back, it was all about Scott, and that's Khloé is being punished for that.
Yeah.
I think it's because, well, Kourtney said it herself. She wants Kourtney to be on her team, which I've been there. I think we've all been there where we want, like, our sibling to be against our boyfriend or whoever they're mad at or whatever the situation is. Like, because I know many times my sister didn't side with me, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, you know, it's just you want that person to be on your side, you know, because they're family. It's like blood is thicker than water. Like, you're not supposed to be on their side. You're supposed to be on my side, even if you don't agree with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking that just because they are sisters doesn't mean that Khloé has to be on Kourtney's side all the time, especially if she's wrong or acting immature or targeting Khloé every single problem that comes up.
Well, there's an interesting kind of dynamic that's happening here because of so Kourtney's outgrown Scott, right? So she's maturing. She's a mom now.
Maturing is a strong word for her still. I think like all of her.
Well, maturing. So she's in the process of, right?
All right.
She's ahead of Scott as far as
Scott's not. So Scott's at a standstill.
he's not even moving. But so she's got that whole thing when it comes to Scott. But on the other side with Khloé, she's still big sister.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you notice in this episode, she was like, okay, you guys have 5 minutes to, you know, come in and hang out for 5 minutes or whatever. And Khloé's like, okay, we got to hurry up because it goes back to their childhood.
Right.
If Big Sister said this is how it went.
Right.
And that's why Big Sister laid the hammer and's like, you're supposed to be on my team.
Yeah.
I've been controlling our little family dichotomy since we were kids.
Right.
So she controls everything.
Well, even when they came to the house that first time, she didn't have an open conversation about it. She just gave him death stares and had her arms crossed and just said no the whole time. So how is anyone supposed to know what's going on?
But that's how she's run with that iron fist.
Yeah, but I'm really tired of her saying boundaries and ground rules, boundaries. It's like, okay, well, what are your rules? Like, it should be a rule that you cannot be a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I get having the boundaries and the rules, especially when she's in a relationship with someone who is so kind of out of control and has, you know, a very hard time with his career, which involves drinking and partying and this whole thing. So I get her concern for that. But to include Khloé in these boundaries and rules and all this stuff, Khloé isn't your family. Like, Khloé, like Stephaune, like you said, like, she's a grown woman. Like, she can do whatever she wants. So I don't know. I don't get all of that.
I feel like Khloé said, she's Switzerland. She doesn't want to be involved. She just wants to be neutral.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. But Kourtney also said something about how she was tired of having the same fight with Scott over and over and over. And to me, I feel like, well, stop having that same fight. You need to find the compromise that Khloé was talking about, and they shouldn't be fighting. They should be relying on each other. And that's what Khloé was saying this whole episode. So she's kind of the voice of reason here, but meanwhile, Kourtney is kind of targeting her.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a weird you know, no offense to all the fans. This is a weird show. It's kind of like Kourtney versus Scott and Khloé playing like Dr. Phil.
Is she? Yeah, right.
She's the mediator. She's using words like compromise.
But all of her stuff makes so much sense. It's
it
just
does.
Like, yeah, why don't you guys
does.
listen to Khloé?
Yeah, okay, so that's the show.
Yeah.
This is
So this is what we're going to be seeing all season.
It's like back and forth, back and forth. Okay, guys, listen.
Right.
Maybe you listen to her a little bit. Scott, you should listen. Yeah, I'm like, dude, enough.
They're never going to compromise, though, because if you notice in the end when they were having their little talk, like, they don't even talk. Like, Kourtney kind of, like, flirts with him, and, you know, she kind of, like, awkwardly, like, kind of apologizes, but doesn't apologize because she's got to tell him it's his fault. That's why she did it.
Yeah.
And then they, like, he just agrees with her. He's like, yeah, I mean, I get you. And it's like, What did
You
what
don't
just
really get,
happened?
because none of us get it.
So they're going to continue to have the same fights.
Right. So the fight turns into Kourtney. It goes from Kourtney being upset about Scott leaving and going to party and hosting these parties, which is the root of the issue here, and that's what needs to be dealt with. But then it turns into her being jealous of feeling like a third wheel and feeling like Khloe and Scott are kind of
BFFs.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're interfering with kind of my process. I feel like she had this plan to come to the Hamptons and train her dog.
Yep.
Exactly. It's like you're interfering with the plan to train Scott this summer.
Right. Well, Khloe doesn't need to.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, but Khloe doesn't need to be there for that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which I don't know why she's there. How are they taking the Hamptons? Please help us,
Exactly.
Ryan
Where are they
Seacrest. Please
taking
help
it?
us.
And speaking of Khloe, let's talk about her little tennis skirt for a second.
Lord.
Or lack thereof.
Lord.
It was like a little.
It was like
little-
a cheerleading outfit,
Mm-hmm.
but even those aren't that short. Like, it was like bloomers.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
I get
Bloomers.
that they were. It was very distracting. I
Yeah.
couldn't really watch the tennis match that was going
And
on.
it's not attractive. I mean, if I can give the male perspective here,
Please do.
it's not attractive.
Wait, on her or just in general for all women?
I used to think that Khloe, when she was with Lamar, which I love Khloe and Lamar together, rest in peace to that relationship. I thought she was really cute. I thought they were cute together.
Well, they were obviously. Well, to me, it looked like they were in love, genuine. Yeah.
But I mean,
Seriously.
even how she dressed and how she carried herself, I liked all that stuff that she was doing when she was with Lamar.
Right.
Her now with the inflation that has happened and the way she's trying to dress around it, not cute, not
working.
feeling it.
Not working. Well, now that we're talking about her personal life a little bit, what did you guys think when she said she prefers Khloe Montana? It's like she's already thinking. So she had a conversation with Scott about how it's weird that she's in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship because she was just married. So it's kind of like going in reverse and having to
going
start this
backwards.
whole process over, which I can't even imagine what that's like. But now she's already thinking about what her last name would be if she married French. So it just seems pretty fast to me.
Well, if I'm correct me because I haven't caught up on it in a while. French and Khloe are done. Obviously, present time now, right?
Yeah, well, kind of. This past week was a little skeptical because he's been present in their lives.
But I've heard that her and Lamar were kind of talking again. So
Save it
heard
for
that.
news and gossip,
Yeah.
girl.
I know, but it relates to this, So even though I think it's that little, you get in a fresh relationship, everything's going good, and you start thinking all the positives. Oh, what if I get married to him? I think it's just kind of like that.
I think that's every girl, though.
I don't think they'll get
Correct
married.
me if I'm wrong. If you start dating a guy, every girl goes, "What would it be like if I were Mrs. Wallace?"
Well, you have to because you can't be in a relationship.
Jesse and
if
I
you-
both thought that.
I know
obviously.
if you can't see yourself marrying the guy,
Just
why
can't
waste
be
your
Mrs. Wallace.
time? Why waste your time?
Right. Yeah. And his name actually, I mean, his name is closer to Kardashian than it is Montana. It was like
It was like Kardashian or
Kardashian,
Kardashian.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
Wouldn't she have the same
And
initials?
Scott was like, "Yeah, you don't have to go far." You're just like, "Yeah, it would be the same initials." So, but I doubt they're gonna get married.
I will never forget this. I was dating this guy with the same initial as my last name, and my mom told him, "God, I hope y'all get married so Jessie didn't have to change her initials."
Oh,
And
good.
I'm like,
That's uncomfortable.
Mom.
Thanks, Mom, for just
I'm embarrassed.
throwing that out there. We haven't thought about that yet or anything.
I met a girl named Miss Wallace before, and we kind of dated. Since we're talking about our
Nice.
lives,
Yeah.
Mrs.
How'd that
And I was
go?
like-
So,
I used to call her and say, "Hey, Mrs. Wallace," and she'd say, "Hey, Mr. Wallace," and I'd be like,
how old
"We ain't gonna get
how long
married. We
ago
ain't
is
gonna get
that?
married." This is like,
Sounds maybe
We
like
ain't
middle
gonna get
school.
Sterling's like,
this is like 9 years ago. This is like 8 or 9 years ago.
Gosh,
Yeah,
you were young.
we was grown. We was grown, acting like we was young. It was a good time for the.
That sounds.
2
We'll
or
have to
3
hear more
months
about that
lasted.
relationship off
Oh,
air.
it's over.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's it. That's the best part of it.
Yep.
All right. Great. All right. Well, let's get back into Kourtney feeling like a third wheel, as she feels like she's not part of the club. I really want to talk about what went down when they brought Kourtney to play tennis.
But first off, before you start that, why did they? Okay, I hated how she kept saying they want me to participate. They didn't want her to go.
Nope.
Right. She invited herself.
She did.
Yeah.
Jinx.
And then she left them. And it's like,
First of all, she should really appreciate Scott finding a hobby that is healthy, that is active, that doesn't involve drinking, and it's just him and Khloé doing it. And he gets a chance to dress up kind of like a douchebag, and he loves that.
probably bothered her though, because he had said that they were supposed to do it together. So now that she's seeing them do it together and knowing that they were supposed to do it together, it probably pisses her off.
It's funny you said he was dressed like a douchebag and he loves that because she also loves it, and she told him at the end of the show,
Oh, yeah.
"You're so hot, dressed like a douchebag."
So we have a chance.
Yeah.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
The crazy thing about this is, and I keep going back to it, so this show is actually Kourtney and Scott's plan to save their relationship.
Couples therapy for
Yeah.
Kourtney and Scott.
I feel like that's what
VH1.
it should
Should
be.
be called the Hamptons with Scott and Kourtney.
Yeah, see, change it up, Ryan. This is better right here.
Yeah,
And
no
Khloé
taking
will
of the
host.
Hamptons is happening here.
And just let Khloé show up with French, and they trash the house and have a good time, and then they leave.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, because it doesn't really even seem like Khloé wants to be on the show.
No,
So,
she's like confined to this thing, and it's a punishment.
yeah.
She's like, I gotta, blow the whistle and be the referee for you guys.
I mean, really,
the whole time.
I don't mean this in a mean way or negative way, but what else does Khloé have going on?
French.
Okay, but he's obviously busy too, like making albums
That's
and
true.
stuff.
She doesn't,
so.
I guess she doesn't.
Dash. Just make up something.
Well, they have a dash in the Hamptons.
I
So
know. It
here we
looked
are.
like it was
here
so-
we are.
it was selling
I guess she
so
has a
much.
lot of free time on her hands. She
I
can,
can't
she
wait to
can
get to the Hamptons to go to Dash.
Right.
That's what all these rich people are saying. Oh my goodness.
Well, they have one in New York too. Well,
New
in
York,
City.
they didn't have one in Miami.
They
There's
have
one
one
in
here,
LA.
right? Yeah, they
As
have one
sad
in
as I've
Melrose.
never been to Dash.
I haven't
Nor
either. I
has
drive by it, but
anybody
no one's
else.
ever in there.
No.
Whoops.
There's Dash. That's all you say.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's where the Kardashians go sometimes. But yeah, so I mean, do we have anything else we want to talk about tennis? I mean, we've talked about Kourtney's behavior this episode. It really was more of the same from
Just
her.
on her behavior, I think, the way that she said to Scott, which is kind of, I always want to call him her husband. He's
Yeah.
not.
Well, Khloé called her his wife the whole episode.
Yeah. So,
He didn't correct her.
They're like common law almost.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
California,
7
years.
years.
Yeah.
So they
see,
are.
See there, you know about it. Common law marriage. I didn't really
I've been with someone for
appreciate.
7 years.
She was obviously being kind of a bitch in a couple different ways, but when she
First
said to
of all,
Scott,
directing the tennis ball gun at them
at their
was
face,
a little
yeah,
aggressive.
she's
Such a buzzkill.
She's being really spoiled, I think, there, and wanting attention. But when she said to him, who would have known this would be a job for a drunk like you? That's really harsh
That's
Yeah.
really low.
to say to
Yeah.
somebody that you love.
And especially and this has been brought up a lot this episode and in the last episode, that Scott is dealing with so much
Mm-hmm.
and with his addiction issues, with his partying issues, with his parents passing away, all of this stuff, and he has insomnia, all this stuff, and she never really considers that when thinking about her rules and her boundaries and her this, her that. Like, she kind of just pushes whatever he's doing off to the side.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't match up with what she wants to do, then
Because she has
He
a
can sleep
strict
on the bathroom
agenda
floor.
for this summer, and it was to train Scott into being a great man and husband, a responsible husband man.
Well, the first step to doing that isn't to let him sleep on the freaking bathroom floor.
That was ridiculous.
Like,
And then lock him out of the only room that he can sleep out,
Right.
sleep in.
and then when he's talking about sleeping on a boat that he wants to get, she says he can't sleep out there, but she's more than happy to let him sleep on the bathroom floor. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. That's not a way to work on your marriage.
So this just hit me. So think about what you're seeing. What you're seeing is Kris Jenner Kardashian and how she's operated in her relationships. I guarantee you, rest in peace to, what was it?
Robert Kardashian.
Robert Kardashian. I guarantee you he was sleeping on bathroom floors. He was getting locked out of his house. I guarantee you that's what she saw growing up. And she's emulating that behavior because that's all she knows.
See, I don't know about that. I feel
And
like
then
their
look at how
relationship was
he's going
different.
into kind of a Bruce now. He's going to get a boat. He's going to live separate. Kids are here. I'm over here on the boat. It's a Bruce.
Yeah, I don't know. It's more Bruce than it is Robert Kardashian. I feel like that Kourtney's handling this the way she is because she doesn't know how to otherwise, and that's how she's grown up.
Sure.
But at the same time, Robert Kardashian was more of a breadwinner. He's the reason the whole family's famous. And Christian Jenner cheated on him, like blah blah blah. Like I think she was more.
And he
She
probably
wasn't. She didn't wear the pants in that relationship.
Yeah, and he probably like worked all the time, whereas Bruce, like he's obviously retired from the Olympics, like he has all this free time just to like do whatever he wants, and so does Scott.
Right.
And he was probably working, and he probably didn't care.
Yeah, I think there's something there though.
Yeah.
Because you think about she's the oldest. She's seen the most.
Yeah, that's so true.
She's heard the most. She's listened to all the fights.
Wait, I thought Kim was the oldest.
Nope.
No, Kourtney is. Kourtney, then Kim.
All right,
then
you're
Khloe,
off the
then
show.
Robert.
I'm kidding.
Get your facts right, Jessie.
Right.
Just kidding. All right, so is there anything else this episode that really stuck out that you want to talk about? I think we covered all the bases here, other than...
Is it possible
It's
for
basically
women
this
to...
whole show is just Kourtney and Scott trying to figure out their situation,
life.
and then Khloe's just kind of in there
Mediating
somewhere.
it.
Yeah.
Is it possible for women to not dwell on things that happened in the past? If a guy has done something wrong in your relationship and probably hurt you, but he's trying to change, is it possible?
Yes, it's possible.
Yes.
Like, we're not all crazy, I promise.
if he like actually doesn't keep screwing up, because a lot of the times like guys will say, oh, I'll stop doing this, but then it's like a pattern, like they don't. It keeps going. But if they actually I don't know, I want to say I see that Scott changed.
Speak on it, girl.
I see that I wasn't gonna get into my personal life on the TV. No,
Not on AfterBuzz. Maybe later.
Sorry. But no, God, now I don't even know what I was saying.
If Scott changed?
Okay, yeah. I see Scott has changed a little bit, and I think she should give him credit for it, but I also think he keeps, relapsing because she doesn't.
It's pushing him out
Yeah.
instead of bringing him in, and that makes him, that's what's going to cause him to keep going to parties and all that stuff.
Right.
Especially if he doesn't have a bed to sleep in. Of course he's going to go get paid to party.
Sure.
I would do the same thing. Jesus. But I'm glad you brought that up about bringing up the past because every time he comes home and they're having some sort of talk, even though it never gets anywhere, she brings up how he acted in Paris. And Paris this, Paris
That's what
that.
I was thinking about.
Yeah, we're not in Paris. We're in the Hamptons now. This is, however
Live in
amount of
this
time
present.
later. He hasn't done anything here. He has no reason for you to be acting this way towards him.
But Paris wasn't that long ago. She should drop it. If she forgave him, she needs to drop it.
Yeah, you can't forgive someone and then keep holding it against them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think he kind of stubbed his toe by having Paris happen and then saying, I'm going to go to a club in New York. She's going, Paris,
Yeah.
it comes back up. So it triggers something.
Right.
That's his bad.
Well, it's hard for Scott because that is his career, but at the same time, it's not a healthy one for him to have. And
Yes.
That's just kind of
Career. We're going to use air quotes.
well. That's how he gets That's how he gets money, other than being a part of the Kardashian family. That's how he makes his
Why
own.
doesn't he do something with cars or luxury stuff?
I'm sure he does.
He needs to do something else because this is not going to work with having Kourtney as a baby mama and kids, and he's getting older. You can't party like that forever.
Didn't Scott have money before, though? He had his own money.
I think.
Well,
were
they
rich.
passed away. Now don't he get money?
But there's only so much inheritance, I'm sure whatever debt, because
I'm
whatever
not really
got
sure what
money.
his financial situation was before.
yeah, because whatever debt his parents had, he gets.
Well, he's definitely always been a
He gets the
partier.
debt, too.
Always lives a comfortable life. That's for sure. Okay, should we get into some news and gossip, or do you guys have other?
I have one more thing to say, and we'll
Say
probably
it,
not talk
girl.
very long. But
Hey, sister.
one thing I did notice when Kourtney and Scott, went to bed, not only did she, joke to kick him out.
Well, she did
kick him out. But she said, like, as soon as she got in bed, she said, I just undid my pants, not to get any action, but to get comfortable. And that, to me, like, makes, and then it made me think about how she was all, like, wanting to hook up and stuff whenever she was wanting another baby.
Right. But now
she's like, it's like she gets comfortable and she has to tell him, hey, don't touch me because I didn't get comfortable for you to hook up with me. You know, it's just... And I say hook up like they're teenagers, but...
Right.
Yeah, but that
well, first
sucks,
of all, they're
man.
like 8 miles apart in that bed.
Oh.
I don't even know why they can't sleep together in there. There's so much room.
That's tough for a guy when your girl, like, turns off the faucet. I'm just saying. So,
from experience.
Scott Disick's, Lord Disick's celebrity net worth is $12 million. He has money.
Yeah, he's got the money. So he doesn't have to party.
Well, but he's buying boats and buying, like, home or office
Buses.
on wheel. Yeah, those
Jessie,
things.
they are rich.
I get it, but you could, like, how far does that money go?
Yeah.
Speaking from a true
Well,
penny pitcher.
I think for Scott, though, it's more about staying preoccupied with something, always having something to do. He can't sleep. He needs to be watching stuff. He can't just sit still. He's like a very
Become the
social
greatest
and-
dad in the world. How about that?
Well, I feel like he's a good dad now.
I feel
I
like,
don't know.
the kids obviously want Kourtney over him because Kourtney's always with them. You know, she's pretty much a stay-at-home mom. You know how kids get like that.
Yeah.
Like, you want your mom over your dad, so it's kind of awkward.
Oh, Disick. All right, so enough about this
Yeah.
weird TV show that
Yeah,
we're
let's
going to
get
continue to
into
talk
news and
about.
gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, so a lot happened last week because it was Kendall's birthday, her 19th birthday, or was it? Yeah, her 19th birthday. And then, so they had her huge birthday party, obviously. Everyone was there.
Because they're rich.
Khloe was there because they had the money for it. Khloe was there, and French Montana was there.
French.
And they had male strippers there and gave Kendall, there's a video of a male stripper giving Kendall a lap dance, which I was a little uncomfortable about.
But you know, you can be 18 to get in the strip club, so it's
Yeah, I know, but it's like Kris Jenner was there.
Good-
like
good
the
old
mom,
Jessie.
The mom and the
You can
family's
be 18
there.
at the strip club. Just let you know.
I mean,
And if
it's
you want to
saying,
apply,
it was
you
a
can be 16.
Well, it's a family affair, and there's strippers and the whole thing, so to me that was a little weird. But there's also a video of Khloe grinding all up on French Montana. So I don't know. To me, like, I feel like they're still broken up, but they might try to keep him in the thing just for this show. Because I feel like if we think that's done, it's over, blah, blah, then why are we watching this show to see what happens? You know
Sure.
what I mean?
We
But I
need
don't
him.
know if that's a real, or if that's real and they're kind of back on.
Well, they're
Or not.
really good with contracts and relationships, so
Yeah, exactly.
maybe they just decide to be friends, or, you know, FBs.
Yeah, maybe. But then a couple days later,
Jessie.
what's it? FBs? Is it FWBs? But then a couple days later, it was Kris Jenner's birthday, and they all went to Disneyland as a family, and her new boyfriend went too.
real dark
She
skin.
hasn't,
She got her a chocolate man.
she hasn't really confirmed that they're together.
Any
What's
dude
his name
going
again?
to Disneyland with you.
His name's Corey Gamble. He works for
wanna
Scooter
see
Braun,
this
who
guy.
is Bieber's manager.
Yeah,
Um,
of course he does.
yeah.
Wait, so this guy's a manager?
It just says
He's
like
black, that's all you
he
need to
just
know.
works for he just how's that popcorn, Stephaune? We can hear you chewing it in here. He works for Scooter Braun, who is Justin Bieber's manager, so he's like in management. But anyways, they all went to Disneyland. I went to, so our girl Maria Menounos, as we all know, is on E now, so we were able to go to the taping of Live for Me.
Yeah.
And the day I was there for it, Kris Jenner, it was on Kris Jenner's birthday, and she called in. And they were on their way back from Disneyland, and she told us all about it and all that stuff. She was just on the speaker, so we heard her. But she didn't really confirm that she was dating him.
Of course not.
But she said everything is wonderful and that he's there. And she had a birthday party in Las Vegas that Scott threw. So, like, she hosted it and Scott Disick hosted it. So he was there. But no one else was there. Kourtney, Kim, Khloe, they all had other appearance obligations. So they weren't there. But Scott was there. And Jonathan, what's his face, was there, of
Yeah,
course. So,
Yeah.
I feel like he's
so she
anywhere
was
he
at
can be.
she was at the club in Vegas for her birthday at One Oak.
With her man at One Oak.
Yeah. So
Her black man. Black man. Keeping it
we got
consistent.
it. We got it. It's part of the.
I wonder what Bruce thinks about this.
I think all
Oh my gosh! Did you guys see that picture of Bruce with black nail polish on and his ponytail? He was like in the car texting, and the paparazzi had a picture of him with nail polish on.
Are you sure it wasn't like
Bruce.
photoshopped on there?
No, I'm pretty sure it was real. I mean, I'd be happy to learn that it was photoshopped.
Bruce is having like a mid-end life crisis. It's like, it's
He's
bad.
emo now.
Oh, Bruce.
He cuts himself so he can be.
Oh, don't say that. Don't even say that.
Bruce.
All right. Do you guys have any more news and gossip? I just like to stay up to date on all the Kardashian stuff, obviously.
Nope.
I've been out of the loop, I have to say.
All right, let's get into predictions.
Predicting.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so Stephaune, other than the show not not going on for the full season, do you have any other predictions other than this being a complete fail of a show? Nope, that's it.
Nope.
This is the last episode. We'll see.
That's pretty much it. No, they're gonna have to bring somebody else in here. So I don't know who it is, but they got to save the show. French Montana can't save the show because nobody understands him. He
He
can't.
chews with his mouth open.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Nobody understands what he's saying.
Right.
So they're gonna have to bring some. They need a ringer. They need somebody that we will say, oh shoot, so and so makes an appearance. They need somebody.
I think it's going to be Scott that's going to keep everyone watching, and I think what's so bad about it is that everyone is tuning in to see how bad he gets. Like in the preview for next week when he's, everything's like broken in the house and he
Yeah.
ends up in the hospital, all this stuff. People are going to tune in to see that because
Sure.
we want to see people, you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
entertainment, unfortunately, to see someone else
The
kind of
demise of their lives.
Exactly.
Huh.
It's sad, but that's the truth. That's
I
what
know, that
everyone's
is
going
very
to
true.
Because if we keep having episodes like this one and last week's where not much is happening, it's the same of the same.
And I think we hope that Scott will be at the club and we'll see like Carmelo Anthony or somebody. We need to see somebody. Yeah. We just need something. We need
Just
anything.
keep going to that special guest appearance.
Like, go out, Scott, so we can go out with you. We want to be there
Right.
because we're so sick of seeing that little. They keep doing that shot of the house,
Yeah.
and it looks like this weird little funny barn that's really
like,
expensive.
like cabiny, like
Yeah.
barn type. Yeah.
Enough of that shot. It's boring me.
Did you see they did put the Lord Disick flag out though?
No, I
I think
didn't.
they had it like on the play set instead
boy.
of with the other flags.
Jeez.
But any other predictions? I mean, other than Scott and watching him kind of struggle with this kind of addiction, I don't really know what else is going to
Predict
happen.
Scott will get on track. And I can say that honestly because I don't know what he's doing today.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what's going on with him.
Huh.
But I feel like he'll get on track and he'll I think he's going to get away from the promoting, or he'll at least do it more tastefully because
Yeah.
I feel like he can promote and not drink hard
Yeah.
and I know it's hard for him, but that's something he's going to have to work on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was just at the club the other night for Kris Jenner's birthday, but that could have just been a family obligation because of his birthday. I don't know how often he's been
Sure, he was
doing
drunk.
that. Yeah.
Scott said, "I do not have any control."
Yeah, he did say that. That's
First
really
step
bad.
is admitting, right? At least that's what I hear. But I also think that obviously they're going to bring in like the big guns, aka Kim K, because they're really who runs this show.
Yeah.
So they're bringing
They
them
gotta save
in.
it.
Yeah, and when it looks like Kim's going to throw a party there, and Kourtney's not all about it, but she was all about saving her room this episode. So
yeah.
we'll see what that's about next week. But
Sisters.
I'd be kind of mad if someone was having a party at my house too. I'd be like,
I mean, Kourtney, it's everything they have is because of Kim. Like, I hate to say that, but it's so true. Like,
But she still feels like she's big sister,
older
and
sister.
she
But-
says what goes.
even though Kim got them in, I feel like Kourtney and them have done work for
Yeah.
Dash, and they have gone out of their way and done hard work. Well,
You want me to
say
do
hard
celebrity
work.
net worth for Kim versus Kourtney?
Well, I'm sure it's more, but that doesn't mean that gives Kim the right to just go and take over her house when she said no.
yeah. Well, that's real people stuff. I mean, the spinoff is because of Kim.
Right.
So.
Everything they have,
Let
everything
me
that
get
they
real
will
close
ever
to the
be,
mic.
everything that they are, is solely
And everything Kim has is because of Paris Hilton.
Because of Ray J.
Ray J put her on the map.
Yeah, but she got
Ray
famous.
J can't
because
even put himself on the map.
She got
Trust me, I'm
famous
doing Love and
because
Hip Hop Hollywood.
well,
He can't.
She got famous because of her sex video, but she also like got into the Hollywood scene because she was
Paris
hanging out
Hilton,
with Paris
yeah.
Hilton.
It's her own personal ambition. That's why she befriended Paris Dummy and then outdid her. I'm telling you, she used to work for Brandy. That's how she got in with Ray J. Kim is a strategist.
I was going to say, she's strategic here.
She is her mother's child,
Yep.
and everything is about getting over or getting to the next level.
Yeah.
And she's done great with it. This family owes her everything.
Congratulations.
All right. Well, that just about does it for us here. Please go on iTunes, rate and review us 5 stars, and we will see you next week. In the meantime, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Miss Jessie Owen.
You can find me at both of those as well at I Am More Fire.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
I used to have a sound effect.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.